As investigators try to find out what happened to Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post published his last known article. In the op-ed, Khashoggi writes about the need for free press across the Arab world, and it's an issue that he's spoken out on before. I interviewed him last year on the Lebanon-Saudi Arabian conflict in 2017, where he echoed the same sentiments. Here's the full interview. Jamal Khashoggi is the editor-in-chief at the Al Arab News channel. He joins me now to break down the situation. So, Jamal, give us a sense here. What's going on here, and why is it focused on Lebanon?
Thank you. But just a small correction. I'm the former editor. The focus in Lebanon happened with the resignation of Saad al-Hariri because Hezbollah is a political party and a militia altogether. They have members in the parliaments and they are a militia too. They kind of have a hegemony over Lebanon. It's a state within a state, as the resigned premier of Lebanon called it in his resignation speech from Riyadh. So Saudi Arabia have suffered from Hezbollah repeatedly. Hezbollah is held responsible by Saudi Arabia for training Yemeni militias to fire a rocket into Saudi Arabia last Saturday.
Excuse me, Jamal, do you get a sense that these countries could be on the brink of some sort of full-out conflict?
It looked like that, but I don't think it will happen. For logistic reason, Saudi Arabia doesn't share border with Lebanon, and there are no Lebanese party who can stage war on Hezbollah. It will be very complicated, but it rose tension in the region. It drive investment out of Lebanon. I would expect something like a blockade on Lebanon from Saudi Arabia, and that will hurt the Lebanese a great deal. And Saudi Arabia will hope it will force the Lebanese politician to disengage from Hezbollah. Will that succeed or not? I don't know. But the situation in Lebanon, we should remember, it's very fragile.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I want to ask you, the Saudi prince there, Mohammed bin Salman, who recently moved to the #2 position there over the summer, he's making a lot of power moves. You know, they've faced some recent foreign policy failures. They've tried to push in Yemen. They've tried with a failed siege of Qatar. They've tried to overthrow the Syrian government. Why does Saudi Arabia feel right now that they could potentially be successful in Lebanon, and can they really?
We argue about that. Is it the Trump effect that made Prince Mohammed bin Salman feel empowered to this impulsive behavior in foreign policy? It is dangerous. It is dangerous for Saudi Arabia, for the region. Like as you described earlier, the tension in Lebanon, I don't think it will result to a success for Saudi Arabia other than having a crisis inside Lebanon, and that will not help Saudi Arabia.
You mentioned President Trump. President Trump supports the Saudi regime. It was interesting to hear Secretary of State Rex Tillerson say this week that the United States cautions against any party within or outside of Lebanon using Lebanon as a proxy for conflicts in any manner contributing to instability in the country. What role do you think the U.S. will play in all of this?
Number one, they should speak in one voice. I think Saudi Arabia is receiving dual message from the United States. One from the president, which encouraged some of this aggressive behavior, and some from the administration, from the State Department, which is more reasonable. The State Department, of course, discouraging any kind of intensifying tension in the region. So number one, they need to speak in one voice. Number two, they need to have more interest in bringing peace and stability to the region, because the Arab world is in total crisis, and there is no single country in the Arab world that is immune from it, nor it is trying to put an end to those crises. There is no vision in the Arab world. We are going through maybe the most difficult time of our life since a century ago.
And, you know, the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS as he's known by many, recently arrested 200 Saudis, 11 princes in the kingdom. They're all citing corruption. Do we know anything more about this? Do you anticipate that these princes will ultimately be released from the Ritz-Carlton?
No princes were released, but 7 people only were released due to lack of evidence, as the Saudi general prosecutor announced. It is continuing. Rumors are over the country of people who've been arrested. I wish there was more transparency. With an event like that, there has to be a spokesman, but we don't have a spokesman who will come out routinely and explain what is going on. But it is shaking the country. It is like it was described as a political earthquake going through Saudi Arabia.
Jamal, what are you watching for in the coming weeks?
Everything has become possible in my country. I'm worried for a war to break out between Saudi Arabia and Iran, even though I rule it out. I anticipate also more tension within the Saudi economy and more money fleeing out of Saudi Arabia. There's so many things that are happening in the country all together, all at once.
Jamal Khashoggi, the former editor-in-chief at Al Arab News Channel. Thank you so much for joining us, Jamal.
Thank you.